Okay, so let's just settle before we start into our meditation posture. So make yourselves comfortable. Feet, if you're sitting at a desk, have the feet flat on the floor. Am I still there, Mary? Can't see myself. All right. Feet are flat on the floor and your knees are hips width apart. This is if you're sitting at a desk. And sits bones slightly raised. Hands can be, just relaxed in your lap or on your thighs. In this tradition, it's the right hand nestled in the left with the thumbs touching. But if that's not super comfortable for you, you can just have your hands somewhere on your lap, on your thighs, on your knees. And imagine your spine is a string of pearls of light stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head. Shoulders are aligned with the hips and just lengthen your spine. Just putting some space in between the vertebrae. Imagine all the tiny, tiny muscles along the back are lengthening, unknotting, and your neck is growing longer. And from the hinge at the very top of the neck, the very top of the spine, imagine your head just very slightly tips forward. And the eyes are down, looking along the length of the nose. Tip of the tongue is on the roof of the mouth, and relax the jaw. Now bring your awareness to the crown of the head and relax the scalp and the forehead, the eyes, the nose, the cheeks, back of the tongue, back of the head, where the occipital bone is. Just release any tension there. Relax the ears, the inner ears, your temples, and your jaw again. And relax the neck and the shoulders. Allow the shoulder blades to drop down. Relax your throat, chest, belly, limbs, hands, fingers, and feet and toes. And bring the mind to the breath. Just however it is you're showing up this evening, it's totally fine, whatever it is you're bringing with you. And just notice the sensation of the air as you're inhaling and exhaling through the nostrils. If there are any sounds in your environment, just allow those sounds to be there. Try not to investigate with your mind. And bring the mind back to the breath. And just notice, excuse me, what might be arising in the mind. Are you experiencing sadness, kindness, generosity, love, anger, jealousy? So you can be aware of what's in the mind, observe it, let it go, without judgment, without engaging in your thoughts, with your thoughts, without opinions or criticism. Just allow the thoughts to be there. You can be like a scientific observer, taking a step back, looking at what's going on. So this analogy of Mingyur Rinpoche, as long as you're sitting on the bank of the river, watching the river flow on by, you're free. So bring to mind for the moment all the people of your life. So you start with the people that you really love. These could be your children, your spouses, your best friends, your work colleagues, any people that you have really good, constructive relationships with. These are people who support you, bring some benefit to your life, and you to theirs. Then there's those people in your life who are somewhat difficult for you. And then you have all the people in your life who are just strangers. You see them every day, different ones. Just people, we never really take the time to know what their day might be like, what's going on in their lives, what might be going on behind that smile. You never know. It's always good to remember that you never know what's going on in someone's life. So it's always better to default to being kind. So these three groups of people, and this may have happened to you in your life, can change place at any time. That person that you didn't know in 2019 is now a very, very close and dear friend to you. So had they passed away in 2019, you wouldn't have cared because you wouldn't know that person. But if they were to pass away today, that would be a completely devastating event in your life. So it's interesting how it changes. And all these groups of people, despite how we feel about them, are just like us. They're equal in their wish to be happy and their inability to find it. I mean, I'm talking about pure, complete satisfaction, and they wish to avoid problems and constantly running into them. So I think we're going to do this practice, this purification practice tonight for the benefit of all these beings and for ourselves as we move along our spiritual path. So just remembering there is no negativity that cannot be purified. So there's nothing we've done that's so kind of like awful or devastating or bad or horrible that can't be dealt with. And this purification process is basically a psychological one. So we generate negativity with our mind. We can totally take responsibility and change it by creating positivity with our mind instead. So here we purify, applying the four opponent powers. The first of these is the power of regret. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all past lives. So you can think of specific actions of both your body and your speech. And the reason we regret is based on this logic of karma. We experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions. So having harmed others, we most likely will experience suffering in the future. And logically, it would make sense in order to avoid that suffering is to pull out those karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So think like this: I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And then also we can regret any anger and attachment, our delusions basically, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others. And we can think, I'm sick of this suffering. So then what do we do about it? Who would we turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance. So it's a little bit about refuge and compassion. So the first is we turn to the Buddha, the doctor, who has the methods that we can use to purify. And it's not that we're needing the Buddha to forgive us. We're purifying ourselves by relying upon his medicine. So we're not looking to a higher power to fix this for us. So imagine Vajrasattva above the crown of your head, a couple of inches above the crown of your head, facing the same way as you. And if you have a teacher, you can imagine that this is the mind of that person manifesting in this form for your benefit. And he's made of radiant, blissful white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion. And this lotus, although born out of mud, is untainted by that mud, just like our enlightened potential, born out of our delusions, but yet untainted by them. And has this beautiful, radiant face. His eyes are long and peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. He has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom, The right is holding a Vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion, and their being crossed represents the union of these two, symbolizing enlightenment, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So this next little section of reliance is developing compassion. So in order to develop compassion, we actually need to rely upon other beings. So the very beings we have harmed and those who have harmed us, by developing compassion for them. This is a wish for them to be free from suffering. So you can think both of people that you've harmed recently, develop a sense of compassion for them, allow it to arise in your heart. And then for those who have harmed you, this is a really important that we not engage in our anger towards those people, because it doesn't actually serve anybody. And in fact, it harms us. So it's really better that we try and develop a sense of compassion for them. And we think that we know they will suffer in the future because of the harm they've done to us. So you can have compassion towards them for that, because of that. So make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these sentient beings, and think, I must purify for their sake. So the third opponent power is the power of the remedy. And this is the actual medicine, doing the practice of purification. And we start with purifying the body. And Vajrasattva now very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart. And it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left, as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dino Patita Tita Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mipiyatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sutam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dino Patita Tita Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mipiyatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sutam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dino Patita Tita Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mipiyatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sutam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dino Patita Tita Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mipiyatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sutam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dino Patita Tita Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mipiyatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sutam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dino Patita Tita Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mipiyatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sutam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dino Patita Tita Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mipiyatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sutam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified. And just think there's no way you could do anything but benefit others now with your body. So every time anyone sees you, hears you, smells you, feels you, all of this benefits them. So next is a purification of the speech. And Vajrasattva now very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra. And this arcs around and forcefully enters your crown, filling your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech. And this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So just imagine that all the gossip and the harsh speech, useless speech, and talking about others behind their backs, getting other people to agree with you, all of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you and overflowing as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Tira Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mepi Yata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Tira Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mepi Yata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Saka Ahom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Tira Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mepi Yata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Tira Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mepi Yata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Tira Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mepi Yata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Tira Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mepi Yata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Tira Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mepi Yata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahom Pe. So again, feel so incredibly happy that your speech is now completely purified. And imagine it's not possible to do anything other than benefit others now with your speech. So imagine every single syllable that falls out of your mouth is going to be of benefit, not only to the people or person that hears you, but also to yourself because you're listening to it. So next is a purification of the mind. And Vajrasattva now very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So it's just the same as when you walk into a pitch black room and then you just flick on the switch. That light instantly dispels the darkness in the room, doesn't it? So it's the same here. The moment the light from Vajrasattva's heart touches your heart chakra, all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, so any depression or anger or bitterness or grudges, all of this instantly dispelled. Jealousy, resentment, dispelled by this light and this mantra. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Tira Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta mebo sawa siddhi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabala mahasamaya sata aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dita mebo sutokaya mebo supokaya mebo Anorakta mebo sawa siddhi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan Sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabala mahasamaya sata aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dita mebo sutokaya mebo supokaya mebo Anorakta mebo sawa siddhi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabala mahasamaya sata aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dita mebo sutokaya mebo supokaya mebo Anorakta mebo sawa siddhi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabala mahasamaya sata aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dita mebo sutokaya mebo supokaya mebo Anorakta mebo sawa siddhi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabala mahasamaya sata aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dita mebo sutokaya mebo supokaya mebo Anorakta mebo sawa siddhi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan Sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabala mahasamaya sata aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dita mebo sutokaya mebo supokaya mebo Anorakta mebo sawa siddhi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabala mahasamaya sata aham pe So again, be really delighted that all your delusions, which are all the source of all of our suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and speech, are completely purified. And think now there is no space in your heart for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. So next is a purification of the imprints of negativity of the body, speech, and mind. So just imagine light and nectar pouring into you, filling you completely, and just eradicating even the subtlest imprints of negative energy. And as we recite the mantra, Om Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dita mebo sutokaya mebo supokaya mebo Anorakta mebo sawa siddhi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabala mahasamaya sata aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dita mebo sutokaya mebo supokaya mebo Anorakta mebo sawa siddhi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabala mahasamaya sata aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dita mebo sutokaya mebo supokaya mebo Anorakta mebo sawa siddhi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan Sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabala mahasamaya sata aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dita mebo sutokaya mebo supokaya mebo Anorakta mebo sawa siddhi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabala mahasamaya sata aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dita mebo sutokaya mebo supokaya mebo Anorakta mebo sawa siddhi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabala mahasamaya sata aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dita mebo sutokaya mebo supokaya mebo Anarakta me bawa sawa siddhi me piyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajrama me mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Tita me bawa sutokaya me bawa supokaya me bawa Anarakta me bawa sawa siddhi me piyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan Sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata aham pe. So now feel you are completely purified. And just imagine not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. So next is the power of resolve. And this is the fourth step in the purification process. And it's really a crucial one where we make a decision to not harm ourselves or others with our body, speech, and mind. So nothing's going to happen without us making a decision to do it. So think of something that you'd like to work on. Do you gossip? Do you give yourself or talk to yourself in a way that's maybe demeaning? Do you engage in negative self-talk? Maybe make a decision that you perhaps don't want to do this anymore. So you say, okay, so for 5 seconds or while I'm sleeping for 8 hours, I will just refrain from this thing. And gradually over time, we start to dig into those habits that we have and they atrophy. Before you know what, you're doing those things less and less and less. But we have to decide that's what we want. So this determination to not do again is what gives us the courage to change. So Vajrasattva is delighted with us and wanting to merge with your mind, melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown and think, my guru's body, speech, and mind, and Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same thing. So next, we do a little meditation on emptiness. So at whatever level you understand emptiness, if you don't understand it at all, just keep an open mind. So in emptiness, there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma. And there is no negative karma created. So at whatever level you understand emptiness, place your mind there for a little while. So you can think of perhaps all phenomena are empty. They don't exist from their own side. And perhaps the way things are appearing to me may not necessarily be the way they exist. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy we've created doing this purification practice to all living beings and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. So for some long life prayers for our teachers, so they'll stay around a bit longer, the Dalai Lama, His Holiness, the wish-granting, wish-fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world, to the incomparably kind Tenzin Gyatso I beseech, may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. Palamsa Primbishay. O Tup Shu Chang Shin Jam Gon Galloway. Tenzing Kyong Pelaway. Kunza Dog Porze. Shog Sum Kuraway Leg Mon to Drop. Ha Dog Sog Dulaje. Gondu Jab Ten Shok. That's the Venerable One, to use kindness that exceeds out of all the conquerors for those wanderers in far off places, especially the West, mindful of your loving concern for us and intentionally descending again into a family of a far distant land. We make this request. O Lama, please live long. And because you share a beloved teacher leading your students toward wisdom and compassion, explaining through exacting discernment steps of the graduated path, you are the unequal guide. Please live a long and stable life. There we go again, gone like a dream. Sleep well, everybody. Lots of love and stay safe. I'll see some of you tomorrow morning. And thank you very much, particularly you people on the East Coast, for staying up so late. I mean, it's even late in the mid-coast, mid-section of America. It's only early over here. All right, everyone. And you might be pleased to know that it's really cold in California right now. So we're kind of almost catching up to you guys.
It's the biggest treat of the day anyway.
Venerable, it's not that cold.
Yeah, it is here. It's freezing. It really is.
Right.
Okay, anyway, it's colder than it was last year. All right, lots of love, everybody.
Thank you, Venerables.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for
Thank you,
hosting, Mary.
Venerable.